couple things. One is, Tiffany, you asked a question about the bench, and I want to point out one person in particular, and it happens to be her birthday today, is Cameron Brown. If you watched her, she is really, I keep thinking she's going to send me an invoice because she's really another coach, and she can run 5-on-0, and she knows everything, that's going on out there. And she has so selflessly given to this team through such difficult circumstances of her own. It is a huge thing. And I just want to give her sort of a shout out of how selfless she's been. And it's really fun to celebrate her because she's made such a difference for our team. But I think that sets the tone for others. Chantel Horvat, I think she had 5 points, 100% from the field. She had multiple rebounds. She does this with hardly ever practicing. And she's just always ready to help us win more possessions. And I think that those kinds of examples, Gina Conti is one of our captains, and she hasn't played in a regular season game yet for us. But if you ask our team who is one of the most influential people, they're going to say her. And I think that has helped us weather the storms, is that kind of selflessness, that grit, that commitment to the process. I think it's tough. And, you give lip service. It's interesting. Coach Shannon did a great job on the scouting report, first of all. But she was talking in the locker room before the game, and she was saying to act as if, not in hope, but because it's true. It's what you've earned. And I think, we've talked a lot about seven's all we got, but seven's all we need. And that I thought there was a look in their eye today that wasn't lip service anymore. They weren't trying to convince themselves that they really believed it. They didn't even flinch about it. Just, we know how to do this. And obviously I got on a Zoom with the captains last night with Coach Shannon after Jalen Penn got hurt. And it was just so balanced. They were like, Coach, we feel really bad for Jalen, and it's just such a hard thing for her. But in terms of our team, we're fine. We'll be ready. We'll have the team ready. And they live that. And I just thought that's not always been there this year. It's been a little bit more of a struggle. And, as a teacher, as a coach, those are the most meaningful things to me, when you see that kind of growth, when you see a toughness evolve, when you see a cohesion start to happen. We got a long way to go. We still got our butts kicked on the boards. There's still lots that we're going to learn from. But I was greatly encouraged in some of the growth steps, both mentally and emotionally, as well as tactically. Yeah. Well, it was a huge piece for us. The two biggest things were shutting down the three-point line and defensive rebounding. We got 50%, but all that to say is we got to control those things. We still got more second shot points, even though we got less offensive rebounds. And I think the thing that covered, obviously, for that is that we forced 27 turnovers. So even though we gave them extra possessions with offensive rebounds, they had so many empty possessions that fueled our offense that was able to cover for us. But it was a huge key, and it goes back to mentality, right? That I thought Natalie Cho was an unsung hero with that. She guarded 25 so well. Even when we went zone, she was talking from the back line. I got it. She had 5 steals tonight. And she didn't have her points, I think, like you mentioned, until the fourth quarter, but you would never have known that in her body language. And that is huge for her because she has defined herself as a shooter for so many years, and she's starting to define herself as a basketball player who can affect plays, make winning plays. That's what I keep telling our team. It's not about who you are. It's about how you can help us win more possessions. And I think she's starting to get that. And so I thought she was a huge piece of the three-point line. And, I didn't think we really lost anyone. I think one time we lost somebody in the corner that we needed to be out on and chase them off the three-point line. But for the most part, I thought we were really locked into that. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Thank goodness for our defense, because sure as heck isn't our offense. So, and I can say that because I'm the co-offensive coordinator. So, yeah, I think, we also talked a lot about our starts. So those last 2 games against Washington and Washington State, we didn't start well. And then we talked a ton about consistency. There's going to be runs in games, but I thought Coach Tasha has been leading our, we call it our mental conditioning, along with Colin Henderson. And she talks about next play speed. And we were talking about things that you were thankful for, and they were talking about being a goldfish. And the reason we love being a goldfish is they have this 10-second memory, and just go next play speed, go on to the next one. And I thought we were just much more consistent, and we responded quicker to, okay, what does the team need from me right now? How do we get back? We write our reset routines at the bottom of our journals every day, and I just thought this was our most complete focus game. Like I said, there's still tons to grow in, and we're not even close, but I thought this was a good step in the right direction in terms of mental focus over a 40-minute game. Yes. Sorry, Grace.
Thank you. This was a very successful game. What do you want to take from today and bring into Sunday? Rebound,
and then rebound some more. I think you got to learn from every experience, and sometimes you got to learn from your mistakes. Your mistakes, we always say mistakes are only bad if you don't use them as feedback. And so there'll be some mistakes, but we also need to learn from what did we do well, and how can we make that those choices on a consistent basis? How can those become championship habits? How can those things just be a part of what we do? And I think the focus on the scouting report, we need to do that again. But we also, I think, we've been talking about rebounding the whole game. The whole year. We've been a top 5 rebounding team in the country offensively for a long time, and we're not close right now. Defensively this year, we've actually been a top 10 rebounding team, a top 5 percentile team defensively, but we weren't tonight. And credit them. They're really good at this. We knew that they were going to be really good at it. But we're not going to go into their gym and give them that many more shots on second shot opportunities and hold them to under 30% shooting. It's just not going to happen. So that's going to be just a huge area of focus for us. And I still thought there were possessions where we stood too much and we didn't play through the paint. And so we got to learn from those and how to fight fatigue, and we had a couple possessions there. I was able to use my timeouts more a little bit in the fourth quarter, but there in the third quarter, there was this time we talked about, you got to lean into that. I didn't want to burn the media. She had already called one and I didn't want to burn it again. So we had to suck it up. And I think those, when you go on the road, and I don't care if it's, down across town or it's, on a flight, you have to control some of those things better. You're going to have times where the other team's making a run or you don't feel perfect. And that's when you got to rely on your commitments. I think the biggest thing too is that, I want to praise them for their growth. I want to reinforce things I want to see more of. But let's be honest. This is a whole different game on Sunday. So I told them, you can have today. And then by the time I see you tomorrow, this game never happened. And we're moving on to the next. And I think the team that can emotionally stay really steady and be very dogmatic and relentless about I told the team, we can still get better tomorrow. We can still give to each other tomorrow. We can learn from things that happen. So that's going to be the next piece of maturity that I'm going to be looking to see from our team. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I think her plus minus was 20 today, and that's how do you find ways to help the team win more possessions, right? And I talked about that last time. And, she still is a freshman and she didn't get a lot of reps. We could barely practice last year and we're having some similar issues now. But what I appreciated about her is how coachable she stayed and how she's learned. Today, I always work out in between pregame meal and the game. And I walked out of pregame meal and her and Coach Tasha are on the other side digging into film. Okay, what do I need to do? I think that's the thing I've really been impressed with and appreciative of is how steady she's been in her preparation, even when she wasn't always rewarded. And, that she's had some disappointments. She's from New Jersey and she didn't play as many minutes, but you would never know that when she came back. She had a long break with, with our shutdowns with COVID and different things, and you would never have known it when she comes back. I think she's shown a tremendous amount of resiliency, and I always hesitate to use those words because it's such coach speak, but I really think she wouldn't be in a position to be ready when this opportunity came today if she hadn't have made those hard choices to be resilient in those moments where it wasn't very comfortable. And I think, Coach Wooden used to always talk about, be prepared, because when your opportunity comes, you want to be ready, because if you're not prepared, it may not come again. And, I just am really proud of her that she was prepared. I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan. So, and in fact, if you go into the, I can give you a picture of it because I have a picture of it, but if you go into the Mo Austin Center, my sister gave me a t-shirt with Believe on it, and it's taped to the door going in and out of onto our practice floor. And honestly, when we came back, when we got shut down with COVID, I had them all watch a whole bunch of clips from Ted Lasso. And most of them looked at me like I was crazy because they hadn't seen it, but a few of them had, and I asked them to watch the clips through, 2 times before they came to the Zoom. And one of the things that I just love is that he just stayed so principle-centered even when he didn't get rewarded. And it was always about the process, and he never stopped speaking life into those guys. And Coach Tasha said to me, really challenged me to make sure I watched my language, not my language like swearing, but my language of life-giving, that I believed in who they could become. And we always tell them the only 2 things that are going to stay with you for the rest of your life from these 4 years is who you become and who you impact. And I'm really even more so that of course I'm a competitor, and I value it probably too much, winning, but the reality is that who they're becoming and who they're impacting will never leave. And that's what I love about Ted Lasso, is that he always kept the main thing the main thing. And so our big theme was redeem and execute. And we looked up in what Webster's dictionary said about redeem, and it was to turn something that was initially seemed bad into something good. And that, whether it be injuries, COVID, fill in the blanks, that we just weren't going to let that stay bad. We were not going to let that stay as a down thing. We were going to turn it on its head, and we were going to redeem it, and then there was going to be no excuses moving forward. We were going to find ways to execute. And Ted Lasso was my inspiration in that. A few of them went and binge watched it after our meeting, so it was a lot of fun with that. But yes, all that to say, Tugni, I am a Ted Lasso fan. So. Right, you gotta love a Roy Kent. So we got one too. So I can't, I feel like I'll sell her out a little bit next time. So I have to ask her permission that I called her Roy Kent. So, but I just appreciate you guys. I think it's gonna be a great game on Sunday. I also want to just say, my coaching son, Wendell Farrell, we call him, he worked with us here. He usually spends the holidays with my family, and I just love him. And tomorrow is the anniversary of his mother's death, and he's just a wonderful human, and he does a great job. I know Lindsay greatly values him, but today we didn't talk, but in general, I just love him like he's literally my coaching son, and just love the work that they're doing. And I think Lindsay is doing a heck of a job down there. And people ask me all the time, well, how'd you feel about her coming in? I was awesome. Every good coach that comes in here makes me better. And I think Lindsay's makes me better. So all that to say. So thank you everybody for being here. We'll see you on Sunday.